After 2 regional events in the Oceanic chapter of RLCSX, things look to be shaping up as a 2-horse race between Cringe Society and Renegades in that fight for first place. However, with 16 spots available in the upcoming major, it would mean that these next 2 weeks of competition would be the most critical yet. With a slightly smaller pool as well, this led to the most cutthroat open qualifiers yet. Many favorites found themselves dropping the odd game. However, it would be Team Ferox who would finish the day undefeated after beating the Direwolves in the final round. This hot streak, though, would not continue into the second day, however, as Ferox would then fail to make top 16, as they, along with the Gaming Gamers, would surprisingly drop a series to the new team We've Read Ninja's book in what was a surprise upset run. The Purple Cobras would also fail to qualify, putting Riot in a position to sneak into the major with a strong Stage 2 result. The top 16 Swiss would begin with a bang as a surprise run of Ninja's book would take on a Direwolves still looking to justify their position as a potential top 8 team. The series itself would go the distance, playing out in all 5 games. However, a kickoff goal by Ghost in Game 5 saved the Wolfpack from a major upset. During round 2 of the Swiss, underdogs would continue to perform as Mindfreak, for the first time in RLCSX, started to look shaky against a lower-seeded Canberra Havoc. It was uncharacteristically high scoring for both of these teams, and it was decided by only 1 goal before Canberra Havoc secured the series with yet another match ending in overtime. Also, Spydos driving an Octane? That's just kind of weird. Keeping up the tradition of round 3 bangers, in Stage 2 we saw the defending champ Renegades take on the RLCS 9 champs Ground Zero. What happened next would be foreshadowing of things to come, as Ground Zero pulled off an amazing reverse sweep with back-to-back overtime wins followed by a tense 3-2 Game 5. Amphis in particular seemed to be playing otherworldly, coming up clutch multiple times. After failing to qualify in Stage 3 against Cringe Society, Canberra Havoc would get their second shot against a hot Gaming Gamers who had just swept up Fury. Despite some interesting clears early, the Gaming Gamers would prove to be too much for Canberra Havoc to handle, winning 3-0, coming up big in 2 major overtimes along the way. The last game of Stage 2 saw 2 top 8 teams go at it with only 1 spot up for grabs, as Fury took Vort Central all the way to 5 games. The series was shaping up to be the second reverse sweep of the afternoon. However, Vort Central was able to bring it back after getting a late 2-goal lead in Game 5. The Sneaky Boys would make their top A debut in the final fall regional, and what should have been a proud moment for the squad of CJM, Riv, and Finn was quickly put to rest as the boys were caught by a motivated Cringe team who would take that 4th series comfortably 4-0. The sweeps would then continue into the second quarterfinal match, but not in the way many expected, as Gaming Gamers found the 4-0 upset sweep after Mindfreak failed to bounce back from 2 consecutive overtime losses. That said, Caveman Ben can hold his head high. After all, you can't break Rule 1. After 2 one-sided affairs, many were expecting a quick quarterfinal round when Ground Zero took on Vort Central. What followed instead was a 7-game classic as Vort, no longer a surprise upstart team, took Ground Zero all the way to Game 7 with 2 clutch overtime wins. However, during the decider, a quick flurry of offense gave Ground Zero too large a goal cushion, allowing Amphis and Co. to advance to the semifinals. The final quarterfinal match would prove to be another one-sided affair as RNG took down Solicit in a very dominant 4-1 showing. Game 3 in particular saw the defending regional champs put 8 points on their opponents, the most scored in a quarterfinal thus far, setting RNG up for that rematch against Ground Zero. Until the semifinals, the Gaming Gamers had continued to look unstoppable. With Vibe stepping into the lineup, the team was once again going through what seemed to be a new honeymoon period, knocking down several key wins. Unfortunately, at this stage of the event, they had to play a motivated Cringe Society, who would make quick work of the Gaming Gamers, winning 4-1 and getting a spot in the final. Renegades would then have their own shot of revenge against a Ground Zero team that found a victory over them in Stage 2. Things look promising for RNG after securing Game 1 in dominant fashion. However, momentum can change fast in Rocket League, with Ground Zero winning the next 4 games in a row, at times just driving circles around the RNG defense. After several months, Ground Zero would now find themselves in a final of a major event. For Cringe Society, this would mark the 3rd final appearance in a row. with expectations looking to repeat their first affair as opposed to their more recent shortcomings. This, though, would not be the case, as history quickly began to repeat itself for the society, with a healthy dosage of Amphis along the way. Amphis himself had been putting on a show all weekend long, and it would be capped off with a 4-2 finals victory over what would become Oceania's #1 seed. Ground Zero were our third regional champions. However, winning a regional was not the goal of Ground Zero, nor any other OCE team, as in reality it's all about this weekend, the Major. OCE's top 16 teams will now compete one final time during this fall split. It's 5 rounds of Swiss, followed by a single ELM knockout. Whilst Ground Zero have now made this a 3-team affair, it's safe to assume both Cringe Society and RNG will each be gunning for their own set of revenge. Not to mention, there's a very hungry pack right behind them. Tune in to RLCSX this weekend to find out who will become the new kings of OCE.